Beloved soul, pause for a moment and absorb these words carefully, because what surrounds you tonight is not fiction designed to frighten the mind. Somewhere beyond your sight, while the world around you continues in ordinary motion, an unsettling discovery has drawn attention for reasons nobody can yet explain. Far from the noise of crowded streets, along a forgotten stretch of road, hidden beneath dim skies and restless wind, authorities gathered after noticing something unusual resting near the edge of the pavement. The atmosphere changed instantly. What was once a silent and empty path became overwhelmed with urgency, confusion, and unanswered questions. Patrol lights flickered against the darkness, while officers searched the area, speaking in hurried tones as they tried to understand what had happened there only moments before. Witnesses nearby described the scene as strangely heavy, as if the stillness itself carried tension. At first glance, investigators believed the object lying near the roadside was harmless, perhaps discarded debris or something abandoned by a passing traveler. But as they moved closer, the seriousness of the discovery became impossible to ignore. The road was quickly secured, vehicles stopped arriving, and every detail suddenly mattered. No one expected the night to unfold this way, and yet within minutes, an ordinary patrol transformed into a moment that would leave everyone involved shaken, searching for clarity in a silence that no longer felt empty. But then the outline became clearer, human, motionless, silent, the kind of sight that freezes the heart even of someone trained to face danger. He stepped out, flashlight trembling in his hand, and approached slowly. Every step felt heavy, like the ground itself was warning him. When he reached the body, he didn't speak for several seconds. He just breathed, heavily, trying to understand what he was seeing. And when his voice finally returned, it carried fear. "Dispatch, we have a situation," he whispered into his radio. Within minutes, the empty road was no longer empty. Patrol cars, emergency responders, investigators, everyone arrived so quickly it was as if the night itself had pushed them there. Tape went up, cameras snapped, gloves were pulled on. This wasn't treated like an accident. No one for a moment believed this was natural. Something about that body, its positioning, the surroundings, the expression frozen on its face, made it clear that something violent, something deliberate, something dark had happened here. But my child, you must understand something important. The body itself wasn't the most shocking part. No, what happened afterward is what shattered every assumption, every expectation, every guess. When two officers carefully lifted and turned the body to examine it more closely, a folded piece of paper slipped out from the pocket of the jacket. It fluttered onto the ground like a feather, but the effect it created was far from gentle. One of the officers picked it up, opened it, and froze. His breath caught in his throat, and the color drained from his face as he stared at the handwriting. Your full name, your complete address, every detail written clearly, precisely, unmistakably. That moment created panic. Questions burst through the air. Why would a stranger have your name? Why your address? What was he planning? Was he coming to you? Was he sent? Who gave him your information? The officers exchanged looks none of them could explain. Even the most experienced investigator felt a chill run down his spine. But my child, hear me. This man had never met you. He wasn't someone connected to your past. He wasn't someone you crossed paths with accidentally. He wasn't someone who admired you, or hated you, or followed you on his own. No, his presence here was not his idea, and the reason your name and address were on him has nothing to do with coincidence. I see the thoughts forming in your mind. You're wondering how this could possibly involve you. You're trying to understand who would put you in a situation like this. You're asking yourself why someone far away would be carrying your My child, stop blaming yourself. Stop thinking you triggered this. You didn't. This situation wasn't born from your choices. It was born from the darkness of someone else's heart, because this body lying on that lonely road belonged to someone dangerous, deeply dangerous. Someone whose life revolved around doing things in the shadows. Someone who was paid to follow, to monitor, to destroy, without leaving traces behind. He lived off fear. He lived off the suffering of others. He carried out instructions from people who never showed their faces. And my child, this time, his assignment was you. Yes, he was coming for you. Not to speak, not to warn, not to meet, but to harm, to intimidate, to sabotage, to create chaos in your life. And the most terrifying part? He wasn't coming on his own. Someone gave him your name. Someone handed him your address. Someone paid him to bring danger to your doorstep. Someone you know. But let me tell you something just as important as this revelation. Even though this man received instructions to move toward you, to target you, he never reached you. He never made it anywhere near your home. He never took the first step toward carrying out the plan he was paid for. Why? Because someone intercepted him before he could act. Someone ended the mission before it began. Long before confusion could reach your doorstep, a greater force had already begun clearing the road ahead of you. What was meant to disturb your peace never gained the power to touch your life, because every hidden intention collapsed before it could become reality. While negative energy gathered quietly in distant places, protection was already standing between you and every harmful plan. Doors closed that you never even saw. Conversations faded before they could create damage, and situations that looked dangerous from afar lost their strength before coming near you. You may never fully realize how many storms passed by without entering your world, but that does not make the protection any less real. Some people watched your progress and struggled to understand how you continued moving forward despite obstacles. Your growth reminded them of what they lacked within themselves, and instead of finding inspiration, they allowed jealousy and insecurity to take control of their thoughts. But envy can never overpower purpose. The more they focused on stopping your journey, the more your resilience became visible. What sets you apart is not perfection, but persistence. Even during moments of doubt, you kept rising, learning, and rebuilding yourself. That quiet determination carries a strength many people cannot imitate. So do not walk through life burdened by fear or suspicion. Keep your focus on the future ahead of you, because the path opening before you was always meant for your growth, your peace, and the better days waiting to find you. So they made a choice, a dark one, a dangerous one, but their choice failed before it even began, not because they suddenly felt regret, not because the criminal changed his mind, not because circumstances shifted on their own, but because I said, no. I blocked the darkness they invited. I shut down the plan they paid for. I turned their intention into exposure instead of impact. And now, what they never wanted you to know, you now know. They wanted harm for you, but harm never reached you. They wanted fear in your home, but fear never touched you. They wanted your downfall, but instead, I raised you higher. My child, you must hear me clearly. The reason attacks form around you is not because you are weak, it's because you are chosen. The reason people envy you is not because you did something wrong. It's because you are doing everything right. The reason darkness tries to come near you is not because it can overpower you. It's because it knows it cannot. You carry light, you carry purpose, you carry destiny, and that makes insecure hearts tremble. But let them tremble, you will not. My child, you are protected in ways you don't even see. I shield you in moments you don't feel. I guard your steps in hours you think nothing is happening. The threat that was meant to reach you died before it ever got close. The danger that was designed to harm you ended itself. The weapon formed for your destruction was destroyed before it reached your walls. You are not alone. You are not undefended. You are not vulnerable the way others think. You walk with me, and when you walk with me, no shadow can overpower your light. This is only the beginning of what I must reveal to you, my child. Take a deep breath, because what I am about to reveal next will make the entire picture clearer, heavier, and far more shocking than anything you've heard so far. You now know a stranger was found with your name and your address. You know he was coming toward you. You know he was stopped before he reached your life. But you do not yet know the true reason behind the attack, the real identity of the person who sent him, and the depth of the darkness they allowed themselves to fall into. And until you understand that, you won't grasp the extent of my protection over you. So listen, my child, with both your spirit and your mind. When the officers realized that the name and address on that note belonged to someone completely unrelated to the man lying on the road, they didn't treat it like a small clue. They treated it like the center of the investigation. They studied the details. They compared handwriting. They checked the ink. They tested the paper. They searched his clothes. They opened his wallet. They scanned his phone. They looked for anything that could connect him to you, but no connection existed in the natural world. Not a single message, not a single call, not a single photo, not a trace of an online search about you. Nothing. Not a conversation, not a transaction, not a common acquaintance, nothing at all. And that was the biggest sign of all. He didn't know you. He wasn't interested in you personally. You weren't the one he had a problem with. You weren't someone he had history with. You weren't someone he hated or recognized. So then why did he carry your information? Because someone gave it to him. Someone you have crossed paths with. Someone you have greeted. Someone who watches your life more closely than you realize. Someone who pretends everything is fine when they stand in front of you, but their heart boils with resentment every time your name is spoken. But my child, this person didn't begin hating you overnight. Jealousy does not scream in the beginning. It whispers. It grows silently. It hides behind fake smiles. It disguises itself as support. It acts friendly, but the mind inside has already turned poisonous. This person carried envy like a disease, but they hid it well. They acted normal. They acted polite. They acted unaffected by your success, your progress, your blessings, your transformations. Some people were never disturbed by your failures, but they quietly struggled with your progress. Every time life began opening new doors for you, it reflected something unresolved inside them. Instead of finding peace within themselves, they measured their worth against your journey. They watched your growth from a distance, wondering why your life seemed to move forward, while theirs felt frozen in place. Your success became a mirror they didn't know how to face. It wasn't truly anger toward you. It was frustration with their own disappointments, their own unanswered questions, and the dreams they felt slipping further away. Slowly, admiration turned into silent resentment. They paid attention to everything you accomplished, every opportunity that came your way, every moment where your confidence grew stronger. While others celebrated your victories, they felt left behind, convinced the world noticed you more than it noticed them. Over time, that comparison consumed their thinking. Instead of choosing growth, they allowed bitterness to shape their perspective. They believed that if your momentum slowed down, somehow their own struggles would feel lighter. Rather than focusing on healing or rebuilding their own path, they became distracted by yours. And in that unhealthy mindset, They started searching for ways to regain a sense of control, forgetting that real peace never comes from competing with someone else's journey. Not someone who would ask questions, someone who would obey orders without hesitation, someone with no conscience, no boundaries, no mercy, someone who would follow instructions and then disappear. This person, the one now lying lifeless by the road, was their chosen tool. But here is where the truth becomes even darker, my child. The one who hired him wasn't only trying to scare you. They weren't only trying to rattle you. They weren't only hoping to disturb your peace. Their intention was more severe, more calculated, more dangerous. They wanted to create chaos around your name. They wanted an incident near your home. They wanted a confrontation. They wanted you to panic. But most of all, they wanted you to fall. Because what they couldn't achieve through gossip, they tried to achieve through danger. What they couldn't stop with words, they tried to stop with fear. What they couldn't damage emotionally, they attempted to damage physically. And just when they thought they had found the perfect way, just when they believed they had finally created a plan that would shake you, just when darkness surrounded their thinking completely, I stepped in, my child. I saw every hidden message behind closed doors. I saw every conversation they had in whispers. I saw every moment of planning. I saw their intentions before the idea was even fully formed. Nothing is hidden from me. No plot escapes my vision. No scheme survives without my awareness. Before they made the call, I heard it. Before they shared your name, I knew it. Before they wrote your address down to give to him, I watched it. Before the man took the assignment, I marked it. Before he stepped on that road, I followed it. Before he took his next breath, I intercepted it. My child, understand this deeply. What was meant to reach you never reached you. What was meant to harm you never touched you. What was meant to shatter you never came close. What was meant to destroy you became the method of exposing them. Because I will never allow a child who walks with me to be overtaken by a plan formed in darkness. My child, the world sees police, investigation, confusion, mystery, questions. But you must understand, this wasn't just an accident or a crime scene. This was divine interruption. This was spiritual interception. This was protection in motion. While you were living your day comfortably, unaware of any danger, I was dismantling a plan miles away that was designed to shake your entire world. I allowed the truth to be uncovered, not in your neighborhood, not near your door, not in front of your home, but far from your life. Nothing about this moment was accidental, not the location, not the timing, not the discovery, not the note. Everything that happened was allowed, so that the enemy's intentions would be revealed, without allowing the enemy's weapon to ever touch you. My child, you need to hear this next part with clarity. Your name was not on that note to scare you. It was on that note to expose the one who used your name with evil intent. They thought they were smart. They thought no one would ever know. They thought their involvement would remain hidden forever. They thought the darkness would cover their actions. But darkness cannot hide anything from me. And now, everything they tried to bury is rising to the surface. My child, hear this. If the enemy cannot defeat you, he tries to distract you. If he cannot distract you, he tries to intimidate you. If he cannot intimidate you, he tries to create fear around your life. If he cannot weaken your spirit, he tries to break your peace. But none of it worked. None of it touched you. None of it reached you. Do you see? Your protection is not fragile. Your destiny is not at risk. Your purpose is not shakable. Your life is not in danger the way they hoped. You walk with divine covering. You walk with heavenly defense. You walk with a shield no weapon can penetrate. My child, the person who sent that man believed they were attacking you, but in reality, they were attacking me. And anyone who fights against you, while you walk in my hand, is not fighting a human battle anymore. They are stepping into a war they cannot win. This is why the plan collapsed. This is why the mission ended abruptly. Long before danger ever reached your doorstep, the storm had already been stopped. What was meant to harm you lost its power before it could even come close. It was not luck, coincidence, or a sudden change of heart that kept you safe. The truth is, unseen protection surrounded your life in ways you may never fully understand. While you were resting, worrying, or simply trying to survive another day, battles were being fought on your behalf. Not every smile around you carried sincerity, and not every voice speaking kindly truly wished you well. Some people secretly hoped to watch you fail while pretending to celebrate your victories, yet their hidden resentment never gained control over your future. The negativity they carried collapsed under the weight of a greater force protecting your path. Every scheme, every whispered intention, every silent attempt to pull you down faded before it could take root. You were spared from heartbreak, confusion, and circumstances that could have changed your life completely. Even when you felt alone, abandoned, or uncertain, protection remained beside you. There are moments when you never realize how close trouble truly was because it disappeared before your eyes could witness it. That is the powerful truth you must remember tonight. Not every battle is visible, but your life has been guarded more times than you know. This is how seriously I take your destiny. And now, my child, there is more I must tell you about the identity of the person who plotted this, about the consequences they are about to face, and about the elevation that is now coming your way because no attack against you succeeded. My child, now that you've seen the surface of this mystery, I must take you deeper, because the true story isn't only about the man found on the road. It isn't only about the note. It isn't even only about the one who hired him. This moment is about you, your destiny, your rising strength, your purpose, and the quiet spiritual war happening behind your life that you never even noticed. Listen closely. Every word matters. After investigators realized the man had your name and address, confusion spread through their ranks. They couldn't understand why someone with no link to you would carry something so personal. But confusion didn't only exist among the police. The person who hired him did not expect this outcome. They did not expect their plan to collapse. They did not expect their weapon to fall before reaching its target. And they certainly did not expect that everything they tried so hard to hide would suddenly be uncovered. Right now, while you're reading this, while officers are studying the evidence, while people nearby whisper about what happened, the one who orchestrated the attack is terrified. Not because they feel guilty, not because they regret their intention, but because they can feel it. The plan has backfired. They thought hiring someone would weaken you. Instead, it exposed them. They thought fear would silence you. Instead, it has awakened you. They thought darkness would overtake you. Instead, my light shined so brightly that every hidden intention came to the surface. This person, the one who set everything in motion, is panicking in silence. Their mind is racing. Their heart is unsteady. Their hands are trembling. They know the body has been found. They know the note has been discovered. They know the investigation is unfolding, and they are terrified that their name will be connected next. But my child, the most important thing they fear right now is not the law, it's me. Because what they attempted to do was not just a physical attack, it was a spiritual attack. They tried to interrupt what I am doing in your life. They tried to interfere with your path. They tried to block the blessings I have prepared for you. They tried to drag you into darkness so you would lose focus on your purpose, but they failed. Understand this deeply. No plot formed against you can ever succeed. No darkness formed near you can ever overpower your light. No force sent person who hired that criminal isn't a distant stranger, not some unknown enemy lurking far away. No, they are someone who knows your routines, someone who has seen your victories, someone who has watched your blessings unfold and secretly grew resentful. And my child, the deeper truth is this: the moment I began elevating you, their darkness toward you started forming. They watched you step into new levels. They watched your life shift. They watched your identity strengthen. They watched you heal. They watched you grow. And instead of celebrating, they felt threatened. They compared themselves to you. They asked why your prayers were answered when theirs seemed delayed. They asked why you kept rising when they stayed stuck. They asked why doors opened for you but remained closed for them. Their envy grew roots. It expanded. It poisoned their spirit, slowly, quietly, dangerously, until one day, resentment turned into intent. They didn't want to see you win anymore. They didn't want to witness your growth anymore. They didn't want to hear your name spoken positively anymore. They didn't want to watch you being blessed anymore. So they made a choice that sealed their own downfall. Instead of working on themselves, they aimed at you. Instead of healing their wounds, they targeted your destiny. Instead of accepting their own journey, they tried to sabotage yours. And the moment they reached for darkness is the moment heaven marked them. My child, the reason I am revealing all of this to you is because I need you to understand that not everyone around you carries pure intentions. Some people admire you in the daylight, but resent you in their hearts. Some people clap for you while wishing secretly that your next step fails. Some people smile at you with a mouth that hides bitterness behind the teeth. And yet, you continue rising. Do you know why? Because their envy is not stronger than my protection, and their hatred is not stronger than your purpose. Now listen, my child. There is something else you need to understand. The attack wasn't only meant to harm you physically. The real target was your spirit. The real aim was your stability. The one who orchestrated this wanted to cause fear so deep that you would lose confidence, lose focus, lose direction. Some battles arrive quietly, disguised as fear, pressure, confusion, and exhaustion, hoping to weaken your spirit before your next season begins. What tried to surround you was never random. The resistance grew stronger because your life is moving towards something meaningful, something bigger than the people around you can fully understand. While others assumed the weight would slow you down, they failed to recognize the strength that has been developing within you through every difficult moment you survived. You were never abandoned in the middle of the storm. Even during the nights when your thoughts felt heavy and your heart felt tired, protection was already ahead of you, clearing paths you could not see and preventing situations that could have caused far greater damage. Certain doors closed because they were never meant to destroy your peace. Certain delays happened because timing was preparing you for something greater than what you expected. The pressure increased because growth was near. Breakthroughs often arrive after seasons that test patience, faith, and endurance. What feels intense now will eventually make sense when you look back and realize how much stronger, wiser, and more grounded you became through it all. This chapter is not the end of your story. It is the turning point where clarity replaces confusion, confidence replaces fear, and new opportunities begin unfolding in ways you never imagined possible. The strategy behind this attack is proof of your impact. The enemy sensed what was coming next for you. He felt the shift in the spirit. He knew your life was about to be lifted. He knew your influence was about to increase. He knew your name was about to be written in places your feet haven't even reached yet. And because he couldn't stop your blessing, he sent someone to stop you. But he forgot something crucial. I decide what happens in your life, not the enemy. I decide what doors open for you, not people. I decide your destiny, not jealousy. I decide your elevation, not the one who envies you. I decide your protection, not the one who hates you. And I have decided that you will rise. My child, let me show you what happened spiritually at the exact moment the body was found. While officers saw chaos, heaven saw victory. While investigators saw mystery, angels saw interception. While the man fell, his assignment fell with him. While the world saw a crime scene, I saw a closed door, a door the enemy tried to open but I personally shut. There are things happening for you right now that you don't even know about. New protection, new strength, new clarity, new blessings. Because whenever the enemy attacks, I don't just defend you, I upgrade you. Now, my child, we need to talk about the aftermath. The one who sent this man is now spiraling. Their mind is not at peace. Their plan didn't just fail, it backfired. Their intention didn't just collapse, it exposed them. Their darkness didn't just disappear, it turned into consequences. And their life is about to feel the weight of what they attempted, because when you touch one of my children, you touch my hand. When you send harm towards someone I protect, that harm returns multiplied, not as revenge, not as cruelty, but as justice. My child, hear me. You do not have to fight them. You do not have to confront them. You do not have to expose them. You do not have to defend yourself. What they tried to do is already known in heaven, and now heaven will handle it. The person who wanted to see your downfall will watch your elevation instead. The person who wanted to see your tears will watch your strength. The person who wanted to break you will watch you rise above everything they threw at you. The person who planned your fear will witness your peace. They will not escape their consequences, not because you want them to suffer, but because the universe responds to intention. Every action has weight. Every choice has a path. Every seed produces a harvest. And they planted darkness. Now they must face it. But you, my child, you will not carry fear from this moment. You will not carry anxiety from this revelation. You will not carry worry about what could have happened. Instead, you will walk with gratitude, with strength, with awareness that you are protected on levels you never even imagined. My child, now that we have walked through the darkness that was sent toward you, now that you understand the plot that formed behind your back, it's time to reveal the last and most important truth. This final part will tie together everything that has happened: the body, the note, the enemy, the reason, the protection, and the destiny shift that is unfolding even as you read this. So open your heart, steady yourself, and listen with the depth of your spirit. The person who hired that criminal, you've wondered who they were. You've wondered why they would go to such an extreme. You've wondered why your name would be written on that folded note with such precision. You've wondered why a stranger would risk his life to carry out a plan he didn't even understand. My child, the one behind all of this is not far from you. They are not some distant figure in the shadows. They are closer than you think. Too close. Close enough to see your blessings. Close enough to know your habits. Close enough to observe your victories. Some people enter your life with smiles warm enough to make you believe they genuinely want the best for you. They stand near your dreams, celebrate your small victories, and speak as though they are rooting for your future. Yet time has a way of revealing emotions people try desperately to hide. The person who once applauded your progress slowly became uncomfortable, watching you evolve into someone stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled. What began as admiration quietly transformed into comparison, and comparison eventually turned into silent bitterness. They were never prepared for the reality of your growth. Every milestone you reached became a reminder of everything they failed to confront within themselves. Instead of using your journey as motivation, they allowed insecurity to take control of their perspective. Your happiness felt like pressure to them. Your achievements felt like personal defeat. While you continued building your life with purpose, they became trapped in frustration over their own unanswered disappointments. The painful part is that this shift rarely happens overnight. It grows quietly behind fake support, forced smiles, and hidden resentment. Sometimes, the people closest to you are battling wounds they never healed, and your success unintentionally exposes those wounds. Not because you harmed them, but because your progress reflects the potential they abandoned within themselves long ago.